Alright, so this is your next question from Cat 23, the third slot. Please pause the video and give it a try, and you can resume for the solution. Okay, so another typical Cat 23 type question where, in the first look, you may believe it's an arithmetic question, but it's complete algebra. I mean, I was surprised to find this question in the exam because it's a pretty standard question. If you just Google it out, you will see that this question is already present in the public domain out there in so many places. Okay, so let's see. A fruit seller has a stock of mangoes, bananas, and apples. So guess what? MBA. Mangoes, bananas, and apples. Okay, right, with at least one fruit of each type. So all these are basically more than or equal to one, right? At the beginning of the day, the number of mangoes make up 40% of his stock. So let's talk about the total stock here in this particular case. I'll assume that the total stock contains 100x number of fruits initially. So I need to keep track of the initial number of fruits. Okay, so initially the number of mangoes is 40% of his total number of fruits. Okay, so if 100x is the total number of fruits, mangoes is 40%, that means 40x, right? So for mangoes, the initial number is 40x. Okay, that day he sells half of his mangoes, 96 bananas, and 40% of the apples. All right, so next thing I need to keep track of is the number of fruits sold. So he sells half of the mangoes. I already have 40x number of mangoes, so 20x are sold. 96 bananas. Okay, the number of bananas is 96 and 40% of the apples. Now I don't know the number of apples, but whatever it is, 40% of the apples are sold. So I'll start by assuming the number of apples as A. But if I assume the number of apples as A, the number of apples sold is 40%. Now 40% in fractions is double of 20%. So double of 1 by 5, that is 2/5. So number of apples sold is 2/5 of A, right? So to avoid unnecessary fractions, let's suppose initial number of apples was 5A. So 2/5 of that will simply become 2A. And that's how we avoid one pretty typically nasty fraction. Okay. And he ends up selling 50% of the fruits. Okay. So total fruits sold are half of 100x, that is 50x. 50% is half, right? So out of the total stock of 100x number of fruits, 50% or 50x are sold, right? So I can say total number of fruits sold is 20x plus 96 plus 2a, and that I know from the question is 50x. So from here I will get 20x on the right hand side, 30x will be equal to 96 plus 2a, right? You can further choose to divide throughout by 2. You'll get 15x is equal to 48 plus a. Hi, don't forget to check out my course for the quant section of the CAT exam, where I've explained all concepts, tips and tricks, shortcuts, and past year questions in great detail. Right, so finally I lined up with this equation. It says 15x will be equal to 48 plus a. Alright, so now notice that x is kind of dependent on a, right? So let's start by putting some values for a. What if I say a is 0? Well, that's not possible because if I take a as 0, the number of apples initially was 5 into a, or 5 into 0 will be 0. But the question tells you that there was at least one fruit of each type, right? So that's not possible. A can't be 0 for that matter. Can we take a as 1? When we take a as 1, 15x is 48 plus 1, 49. We are going to get 15x is 49, or we will end up with x being equal to 49 by 15, right? The question says find the smallest possible total number of fruits in the stock at the beginning. So we are required to find the value of 100x, right? So the value of 100x will be 100 into 49 by 15. The problem is this will give me a recurring decimal, right? That's not possible. The number of fruits cannot be a recurring decimal. So I can't take a as 1. The next possible value a can take is 2. And from this, the equation becomes 15x is equal to 48 plus 2, or 50. That means x will be equal to 50 upon 15. So if you notice now, again 100x will be 100 into 50 divided by 15. No, this will again be a recurring decimal. So ruled out. The next possible value a can take will be 3. Okay, so let's take a is equal to 3 and check. We have 15x is equal to 48 plus 3 or 51, or x will be equal to 51 by 15. 3 and 3 gets cancelled out to give 17 by 5. So if x is 17 by 5, the initial number of fruits in total is 100x. So 100 into 17 by 5. 5 ones are and 5 20s are. 20 into 17 is 340. Bingo. It's an integer. And the answer to our question, the smallest possible total number of fruits in the stock at the beginning of the day will be 340. Okay, so that's how we do it. Kind of complicated question. Okay, if you have not solved your special equations, okay, this will be slightly painful to work with. But yeah, if you're comfortable solving your special equations, you're already seen questions of this type, then this question can be solved. But yeah, otherwise it's a difficult category question.